Along with that question, let me ask some other questions about the procedures which are now in place to import the giraffes. The most egregious question, the biggest one, is where did the reticulated giraffes come from? They do not live in Swaziland. They had to have come from Kenya, Somalia, or Ethiopia. There are no other options. They had to, period. When did they get to Swaziland? How many were in the founding population? How closely related are the 18 giraffes? Are they inbred, which could mean genetic and health problems in the future? What is the age-sex composition of these giraffes? Are any of the animals adult or maturing males that could cause fighting among the males at the顽皮 Zoo? And what about the females? Do any of them have relatives that are left behind? Are they being torn away from their family just to be sent to Taiwan? Or any of the animals young calves? Maybe some of them are still dependent on their mother. There's no information about the age-sex categories. So where are the documents showing the reticulated giraffes were legally obtained from Somalia, Ethiopia, or Kenya? There must be documentation of the import of reticulated giraffes to Swaziland, even if they came in before CITES, because it is close to 3,000 miles from Northeast Africa to Swaziland. You can't sneak in giraffes over that distance. Someone had to fill out paperwork at some point in time to bring the giraffes there if it was a legal transfer. On the other hand, if the movement of those reticulated giraffes was illegal and was part of the trafficking in illegal wildlife that the criminal syndicates engage in, then there's no paperwork. So it's actually a very simple issue. Either produce the paperwork showing when they came in to Swaziland, what their composition is, or suspicions are raised that you are trafficking in illegal wildlife. Whether or not the form requires statement of the age sex categories, the date of birth, is irrelevant. The fact is, as an exporter, that information should be available if it was a legal transfer of animals. And as an importer, one should require it, because without that information, one could be engaged in illegal trafficking. So what does the paperwork show? Finally, not finally, but almost finally, what are the plans for the animals? If顽皮 Zoo is bringing in the animals, they must have some plans to bring in. Why would you bring in 18 reticulated giraffes? Well, maybe you want to breed them because it's an endangered species, but that makes no sense because you can't send them anywhere. They're an endangered species covered by CITES 2. So no country that's a signatory to CITES 2 will accept reticulated giraffes bred in captivity without proper paperwork. Okay, so maybe顽皮 Zoo is not breeding them. Well, if they're not breeding them, then the giraffes must have been neutered. Or maybe not. Is顽皮 Zoo planning to neuter them so they're just going to have a bunch of giraffes in their small enclosures? We don't know. We don't know why they're bringing them in. And if they're bringing them in for display and education, then there's a real irony in bringing in an endangered species of giraffe in order to educate people about how giraffe should be saved by not importing them when they're possibly illegally obtained. So the question is, why would any official from the Bureau of Forestry or the Bureau of Foreign Trade approve of the importation of endangered species that are listed on CITES in violation of their own stated policy? Is this sale based upon a commercial and not a conservation purpose? Why is this endangered subspecies of giraffe being brought to Taiwan? Now, given the lack of transparency about the history of the giraffes and the opaqueness of the composition of the giraffes, the murky paperwork, the lack of detail, no information about the history of when they came in or where they're from, the complete black hole. Isn't it possible, just possible, that顽皮Zoo, the Bureau of Forestry, and the Bureau of Foreign Trade are complicit in conducting illegal activities by purchasing giraffes that were actually obtained by kidnapping the animals and smuggling them into Swaziland as part of the network of criminal syndicates that regularly specialize not only in trafficking wild animals or animal parts, but these same syndicates traffic in people. They sell people as sexual slaves. They sell endangered species to be exported. They sell rhino horns. They sell elephant tusks. It's the same network of individuals. Does the Taiwanese government and the顽皮Zoo want to be associated with those criminal people?